Hi everyone, I'm Intikab from Deetam Travel Sri Lanka, and I would like to welcome all of you today to the sixth webinar that we are having on the topics of absolute soft adventure in the tropics. So today I would like to introduce our guest speaker, Danushka, representing Paradise Island Safari, a member of the field Ontology of Sri Lanka since 2014, commonly abbreviated as the FOGSL, which is the Sri Lanka affiliate of the BirdLife International. An active participant of events organized by the Department of Wildlife, experienced naturalist to most of the popular national parks in Sri Lanka. He is also a passionate hiker since school days and starting his hiking hobby from the age of 15. Also was featured in a popular magazine, Insight Risen. So I would like to hand over the presentation to Danushka, who will take you to an adventure around the island, but something interesting rather than the pristine beaches and the archaeological sites that we highlight. It's an adventure that he's about to take you on. So over to you, Danushka.
So welcome. Thanks very much. On behalf of Deetlam, I want to thank you, everyone. So thanks very much, Indika, for the nice introduction of me. So as you all know, because actually we'll move on with the slides around Sri Lanka as Indika mentioned. So we're going for the first slide. So this is actually about our team and what are the things that we are showing around the island. So we go as Paradise Island Safari. So basically, we offer the things that the mention in the slides. It's basically the guided safaris to some of the favorite or the famous national parks in Sri Lanka. Then our most we all do like these kind of things like the hiking and trekking in Central Highlands of Sri Lanka, which is a very unique place in the island. Then waterfall treks, village trekking experiences, and traditional Sri Lankan villages we do, and bird watching tours, which is Sri Lanka is one of the top bird watching destinations in Asia and in the world also. And some day tours to Vilpattu and Singaraja. These two are the most closest locations for Colombo. So if someone is having his or her leisure time in Colombo, within a day we can reach to the Vilpattu and Singaraja and come back again to the hotel that they are staying in Colombo. And the cycling tours, basically we do the mountain biking tours around Kandy. So those are the things specifically we do. When it comes to the, because in the slide we are not mentioning about much about the guided safaris, but I want to mention that specifically we focus 4 major national parks in Sri Lanka, which is one is Vilpattu, other one is Kumana, then Minneri and Boondala. So those are the 4 national parks we focus predominantly, because Vilpattu and Kumana is more renowned for leopard watching and sloth bear sightings. Apart from that, it's a wonderful places for bird watching and other mammals also. And when it comes to the third national park, which I have mentioned, Minneri National Park, which is a very renowned national park among the visitors. I think so, like that, because it's takes place the Asia's, one of the Asia's wandering wildlife spectacles, which we call as the great gathering of Asian elephants in the whole Asia, because it happens every year from June to September. And then we focus on the Boondala National Park, which is also a Ramsar wetland and predominantly for the birding. So then I'll explain you about the things that we do slide by slide. So if someone has any questions, you can stop me and ask any questions. So then I'm moving to the second slide. So this is our major focus. We do lots of hiking and trekking in Sri Lanka, covering mostly the entire Central Highlands and the outskirts of the Central Highlands in Sri Lanka. So, and to give a rough idea, a general idea about the word called hiking, there are so many different explanations. So out of those, I will take one, which is, I think, enough for the moment, which hiking for us, it stays as a long, vigorous walk, specifically for pleasure or exercise on trails, which we call it as the footpaths. You can see the 2 footpaths in the 2 images in the mountain ranges. So this is the one of the correct explanations for the word called hiking. And when it comes to the trekking, it also has so much of huge meanings, but this is one meaning which I can give to you. Trekking is a form of walking undertaken with the specific purpose of exploring and enjoying the scenery. It usually takes place on trails in areas of relatively unspoiled wilderness. So when it comes to Sri Lanka, most of the trails that we offer, or we take the people who visit Sri Lanka, which comes in a combination of both these 2 words. It's sometimes within the full trail, you might have to do a hike with the support of another people, or the support of a tree, or a support of a hiking stick, or something like that. And trek is a walk, sometimes an easy walk without someone's help. By enjoying the scenery, you can walk. So that's how the trekking and hiking comes in a combination. With those 2 combining together, the people can experience both together if they want to walk around Sri Lankan mountain ranges or the nature places. So I'll go to the next slide. So basically, these are the 2 pictures onto your right hand side, which is the Knuckles peak of the Knuckles mountain range, very famous one. Just fold your knuckle and see whether it gives a resemble of the folded knuckle in your hand. So can you, when you keep it with the picture, you can see it. And in your left hand side, which is the Adams Peak. So as to the point that I'm saying, where can we go hiking or trekking in Sri Lanka? The two major places, Central Highlands and the outskirts of Central Highlands. So we look into that. When it comes to, as Intikab mentioned, the cultural places and the sandy beaches. Apart from that, Sri Lanka have 8 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Out of that, 6 are archaeological sites and places like Anuradhapura City, Polonnaruwa, Sigiriya, Dambulla, Kandy, and Galle. Those are the very famous places. Most of the people who promote it and most of the people who visits when they come to Sri Lanka. But there are 2 nature reserves also that we have as World Heritage Sites. One is the Singaraj Forest Reserve, which was named as World Heritage Site in 1988. And the lastly named World Heritage Site is the Central Highlands of Sri Lanka, which is named in 31st of July 2010. Since purely because of this is a unique place with pristine biodiversity, primary forests. Then mostly out of Sri Lanka have around 4,000 flowering plant species recorded in the entire country up to now. Out of that, more than 2,000 species are here. But apart from that, most of the endemic birds, most of the endemic mammal species and reptile species lives here. And this Central Highlands is act as a important watershed and catchment area for most of the major rivers in Sri Lanka. That's why it should be protected. So that's why it has named as a World Heritage Site. So Central Highlands, I'll give another brief explanation about the Central Highlands and about other places that we take the people who visit Sri Lanka. Right, I have mentioned this. Central Highlands of Sri Lanka was declared as a World Heritage Site in Sri Lanka on 31st of July. So we'll go to the next slide. So this is the one area of the Central Highlands, which is the third place. This is the biggest one. Central Highlands of Sri Lanka is located in the south central part of the island. And this is out of the central. This is actually more towards the southwestern part, Peak Wilderness Sanctuary, which is the most complex and most unique kind of a thing, because it has the geographical formation is very unique. So that's why it's a 22,360 hectare land, which gives you the ample things to do. But since it's a restricted area, there are very limited areas that we can walk and we can expose it. So in the Peak Wilderness Sanctuary, the main attraction is the Adams Peak, which is a pilgrimage site. So there are 6 trails to reach Adams Peak, but only 2 trails used frequently by the Sri Lankan people and the visitors who visit Sri Lanka. But apart from that 2 trails, we often have the 3 to 4 jungle trails which exist, and we can use those trails to reach the Adams Peak, which is the south central, so the western part of the Central Highlands of Sri Lanka. And this is the another hotspot and one of the famous tourism destinations in Sri Lanka, Horton Plains National Park. So there are 3 trails which was designed to walk for the visitors who visits the national park. The traditional Horton Plains Nature Trail, which is the one almost all the people who visit Sri Lanka, even including the Sri Lankan people who used to walk on that 8.5 or 9 kilometer trail. Apart from that, we offer the second and the third highest peaks in Sri Lanka. So Kirigalpotta Trail And Kirigalpotha summit is the second highest peak, which is around 2,395 meters above sea level. And Kirigalpotha is the second one. And the third one, the Totubola Trek, is 2,357 meters above sea level. Actually, Kirigalpotha trail is around 11.5 kilometers, 12 kilometers a trail both ways. It is a very scenic trail. And Totubola Trek is a very short trail of around 4 kilometers. And as I mentioned you, the Peak Wilderness Sanctuary is the largest area out of the three, which is out of the Central Highlands. The largest area is the Peak Wilderness Sanctuary, which is around 22,360. And this is the smallest area, which is around 3,160 meters. Sorry, 3,160 hectares. Sorry, not meters. And apart from that, there's another place called the Knuckles Conservation Forest. Similar to Peak Wilderness Sanctuary, this is also very unique, very complex place with an area of 22,000 hectares in the country. And this is the northmost plateau of the Central Highlands of Sri Lanka. And this is the central part of the Central Highlands, and this is the southwestern part of the Central Highlands. So this is also Knuckles Conservation Forest. There are so many places to explore in the area. Specifically, we take the people from the Tangapur Trail and Babarella Trail. Those are the one of the two trails which you can reach to the peak of the Knuckles Peak. You can see the image onto your left-hand side. Once you fold your hand, you can see it's clenched fist similar to a knuckle on your hand. So to reach to that place, you have to use either Tangapur Trail or the Bamarella Trail to reach that, the Knuckles Peak, one of the toughest climbs in Sri Lanka. And Pitawala Patana Trail, Riverstone Trail, Manigal trails are a bit easy trails, but very scenic, very popular trails especially among the local people. And the 850 Knuckles Peak hike is one of the toughest in Sri Lanka. So these are the three main components which combined as the Central Highlands of Sri Lanka, which has a very unique things when it comes to plants, flowering plants, and when it comes to animals, and when it comes to birds, when it comes to reptiles and other animals, which has a very unique place. It's a biodiversity hotspot. So to our opinion, if someone who visits Sri Lanka, one of these three places have to visit, because those gives you very unique experiences during their stay in Sri Lanka. So this is the map, which you can get a clear idea. Not say it's not that clear, but when it comes to the right-hand side peak, on this peak, you can see the entire, this area, we call it as the Central Highlands. And this is the northmost plateau, we call it as the Knuckles Conservation Forest. So it has clear 4 boundaries. And this is the central part, we call it as the Horton Plains National Park. And this is the southwestern part, we call it as the Peak Wilderness Sanctuary. And down here, it has the Singaraja Rainforest and so on. And these are the area that we specifically focus on the clients. And the left-hand side, you have the map of Peak Wilderness Sanctuary, which has this is a very unique area likewise. And it has 6 trails to reach to the place. So all 6 are mentioned here. So those are the 2 maps. And when it comes to the hiking and trekking in the outskirts of Central Highlands, there are also some unique places, scenic places that you can see, because now some of the outskirts will connect you with the Central Highlands directly, and some are not connecting, but from a certain viewpoints and certain entry points, exit points, you can view the part of the Central Highlands while you are walking. So it gives you ample satisfaction of taking the photographs, scenic photographs, surrounded with the mountains and surrounding valleys, waterfalls, so on things. So these are the hiking and trekking outskirts of Central Highlands. Our main thing is one of the toughest trails again, Devil's Staircase Trail. One of the toughest trails. This has several points to start from either way, and several points to stop the hike as according to the people's like. So, which is actually, this is the first connection road which was done by the British regime to connect the Hua province and the Central Highlands of Sri Lanka. So this is one of the trails actually which used by the Samuel Baker also to enter to the Horton Plains. So this is actually, you can either start from Bamarakanda waterfall and it ends up in Horton Plains, one of the entrances. So if you start from Bamarakanda, so it will give you a climb up of elevation gain of 1,000 meters. And if you start from over here, then it goes as a climb down of elevation gain is not 1,000 meters, is less than that. So that's a very unique hike because it goes through the tea estates, gravel roads, then ridges, then scenic areas, then again forest patches. Likewise, it connects directly to the Central Highlands of Sri Lanka. Then the second one, I'm talking about the Single Tree Hill, which is the 10th highest peak in Sri Lanka and one of the easiest treks in Sri Lanka. And this is ideal for exploring enjoying the view of the city of Nuwara. And once you going through this, you can see the part of the Central Highlands also. Elevation gain is around 250 meters. And on this trek, people can experience another typical unique experience called the Sri Lankan villages, which is because Shantipura, we're ending up in a village called Shantipura, which is the highest village in Sri Lanka. So people can experience the village's life, and they can enter to the vegetable gardens, upcountry vegetable gardens, then upcountry flower gardens, then upcountry food gardens, and the tea estates also. So people can mix with the people, the visitors can mix with the people, and they can exchange the ideas and have a taste of either natural fruit or a black tea kind of thing. And at the end of this thing, we'll be end of the trek, we'll be offering a traditional village life or village lunch also from Shantipura. So that's a very unique thing. Apart from the trekking, it's an experiential walk. And rail hikes. So those are the things you do walk the railway lines, outskirts of the Central Highlands. Gives a different kind of experience walking on the railway track along with the village, valleys, and the mountains. And the last one is another unique thing now. In the second one, we take the people who visit Sri Lanka to the traditional village life of the tea estates. That means in the highlands, with the Hindu people living. In the Hilo experience, we'll take them to the traditional Buddhist villages, which is around with the paddy fields and streams and spice gardens, vegetable gardens, low country vegetable gardens, and the fruit gardens. So it's a periphery of the Knuckles mountain range. So these are the 4 different experiences that can experience by the people who visit to these areas. We'll give it in a different way and authentic way also. So those are the things, and these are the hiking and trekking experiences we specifically offer for the people who loves to visit Sri Lanka. And specifically what to wear. So this is the most important thing when it comes to do hiking in Sri Lanka. So we always gives the past information. These things have to be wear the proper hiking shoes and or proper boots, lightweight trekking trousers, hat or a cap to protect your head, then comfortable t-shirts because Sri Lanka is a tropical island. So even in the mountain ranges also you feel that humidity. So you have to wear the lightweight and light trousers. And this is a family from Switzerland. Actually, the father is explaining to their kids and to his wife what should do and what not should do because he's the person who understands English. So I'm communicating with him, and he will be giving the information as a translator. And we have provided the lead socks. Can you see the people are wearing the lead socks and the hiking sticks? And on your left hand side of the photograph, you can see my medical officer is experienced medical officer from the Health Ministry of Sri Lanka, which is have more than 15 years of experience in the health side in the health industry. So apart from these, we offer, this is our up-to-date medical pack, first aid pack, proper first aid with an officer, experienced medical officer. And primarily, we consider these three things: energy drinks, which is a lime drink, which prevent the exhaustion or the dehydration, and bottled water, 1 liter of bottled water, glucose and dextrose to prevent dehydration. Apart from that, to boost your energy, we provide chocolate slabs, dates, apples or orange. Apple or orange, it will be considered the amount of heat prevails around the days prior to the hike and on the hiking day. So it will be time to time it will define it comes with the apple or it comes with the orange. And during the hike there are some rest points. So to have the pack lunch also will be even the pack lunch also. So those are the things we offer, and first aid kit and what to wear. So those are the main primarily importance of the hike when it comes to the trekking and hiking in Sri Lanka, because you have to remember we are a tropical country and the humidity level factor is much more higher than when it comes to trekking in the other countries of the world. So that's it about the hiking and trekking part. Then after that, I'm going to give you some ideas about the bird watching in Sri Lanka. So we are because of our the location of the Indian Ocean, we are one of the most hotspots or a fantastic or a super place to do the bird watching in the entire world. So as Intikab mentioned, I'm a member of the FOGEXL, which is affiliated with the BirdLife International. Up to now, they have identified the BirdLife International have a checklist of around over 13,000 birds. Out of that, the tiny island of Sri Lanka, we have around 509 bird species. So when it comes to the numbers, it's a very high number. That's why Sri Lanka is considered as one of the top birding destinations in the entire world. So normally, if you do a proper birding tour within 13 nights, 14 days, you have the chance to spot around 250 to 260 birds around the country. So not almost all the places that we are covering, we have identified some certain areas to spot the birds. So I'll take you for those birds also. So this is the bird in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is one of the best countries in the world, and it is indeed a bird's paradise. So in Sri Lanka, we have recorded 509 species, 432 species and subspecies, with 33 endemics. This 33 endemics means this 33 birds you can see only in Sri Lanka. In Sri Lanka also, there are certain national parks, certain forest reserves. These 33 can be seen. So I'll explain you what are the places. So as I mentioned, the key sites are to see this bird. Singaraja Forest Reserve, which is a one and only remaining the tropical rainforest in the country, which has a 11,187 hectares land, and predominantly it holds all the out of the 33 birds, endemic birds, you can see around 29 to 30 endemic birds you can see within this Singaraja Forest Reserve. And it's a tropical humid rainforest, which is the only remain wet zone rainforest. And apart from being out of the, as I mentioned you in the earlier slides, we have around 4,000 flowering plant species in the entire country. Out of that, nearly 3,000 flowering plant species can be found in Singaraja. And the other amazing factor is when you walk through Singaraja, per hectare, you get 240,000 of trees, lianas, shrubs, and everything. That's a very staggering factor. Apart from that, Singaraja Forest Reserve holds the record for the largest bird wave in the world, not in the country, in the world, because researchers still doing the researchers on Singaraja from 1981 up to now. Why this is happening? So it's a very unique thing. Actually, this is not the time to explain everything, but in a bird flock, you can see sometimes nearly 20 to 25 species in a one place, because bird flock is formatted to find the food that they need in a limited time space. That's what it's happening. So it's a very amazing place. So that's why Singaraja is always one of the top places for when it comes to bird watching. So Makanda Forest Reserve also, Kitulgala, again it's in the dry wet zone. Likewise in Singaraja, Makanda Forest Reserve also sometimes gives you the bird flocks, but not high number as the species. But in Singaraja, you can see sometimes 25 to 30 bird species in one flock. But in Kitulgala, you can see around 10 to 15 birds in one location. And again, the Horton Plains National Park, we have mentioned it, that's a Central Highland, one of the top destinations for the visitors. It's a very unique place. Out of the 33 bird species which Sri Lanka have, the endemic birds, out of that 33, there are 5 endemic, montane endemic bird species that you can see only in Horton Plains because of the climatic conditions and the terrains and the vegetation types. So that's the one place that we primarily take the clients to, visitors to see the birding. And Udavatta also another place that you can see mixture of, it's in the intermediate zone, it's in Kandy, in the intermediate zone. You can see some intermediate kind of birds and not in the highland birds. So it's another good place which you can see around, within a day, you can see around 15 to 20 birds. And as I mentioned you, Nakas Range also a very good place to see some endemic birds. So the first 5 places, Singaraja, Makanda, Horton Plains, Udavatta Calais, Nakas Range, all these 5 belongs to, 2 belongs to highlands, and other 3 belongs to wet zone and intermediate zone. And the last 3, Boondala, Kumana, Vilpattu, all these are located around the coastal belt of Sri Lanka. And most of the migratory birds, which comes from Europe, from the eastern Himalayas and eastern Siberian side, Russian side, and Far Eastern side, they'll be coming every year. Starts to come around September, and they will be staying here around up to March, which is the European winter season. So I have seen some migrants within the past few weeks also in around Colombo, and I have visited some national parks during the past few weeks. In Vilpattu, I have seen some migrant birds already here, and in Colombo also I have seen. So this is the time that migrant birds comes in, and they stay here up to March, and they start to leave the country by first 2 weeks of April. So Boondala, Kumana, Vilpattu, these 3 places are in the coastal belts, dry zone, and some are in the semi-arid zone, some are in the arid zone. So to watch the water birds, waders, and the dry zone species, eagles, these 3 are perfect places, because these 3 are known as important breeding areas in the country and known as Ramsar wetlands also. So those are the 8 places that we predominantly focus. If we do this a proper tour on to these 8 places, 8 national parks, and among the national parks and the forest reserves, surely you can see around 250 to 260 birds around the tour in a one tour. So those are the birding factors. And these are the 3 birds, some birds. So our last segment of the this thing, and we do the mountain biking around Kandy, because me and my team is originally located based in the central province of Sri Lanka, which is the Kandy city, which is the Kandy district. We based in Kandy. So around Kandy, we give some unique experiences for the mountain bikers, those who want to explore the typical villages in Sri Lanka, waterfalls, and typical village lives while riding the cycle. So there are some places that we are offering. I'll show you. And around cycle again, also we believe cycling is one of the best ways to enjoy nature. You will just not see, you will interact with nature because of the country's highly diverse landscape and ecology, as I mentioned you. And any kind of cycling trails could be provided as per the request. Also, we also do that. We provide the best bikes in Sri Lanka to conquer any terrain of the nation, because the terrains that we do the biking is sometimes some terrains are really tough. So you need to have the previous mountain biking experience also to conquer these some of the trails. And these are the 4 key areas that we do. Hantana is another mountain range which you can see, which you can easily access from the Kandy city, but accessing from Kandy is easy, but when you do the cycling part, it comes to very tough, because it's a 35-kilometer trail which goes to the tea estates, and you go to the fine forest, you can go to the gravel lands, gravel roads, and again a bit of a forest patch, then comes towards again to the tea estates, and again to the villages, and again finally to the carpet road to finish the cycling. And around Knuckles range also, this trek is very challenging, but very experiential journey, because you can see waterfalls, you can see the tea estates, tea pluckers and villages, tea estates. And in the middle of this cycling tour, we offer a typical village lunch and typical black tea from the small boutique shops in the Knuckles range. And you go through the natural pools, again tea estates, and again sometimes finishing with from the paddy fields also of the favourites of the Knuckles. So first 2 are typically full day adventurous mountain bike treks, which offers for the people who have the previous mountain biking experience within, right? So you can see the images, all 3 are from the Knuckles range with the gravel roads and the experiences that we have offered for our clients. And the last 2, it's predominantly two city tours, half-day city tour and full-day city tour, which takes you to some historical places also, like the places like temples, Kandy Temple and Kandy Lake, then Udavatakali Forest also, you can drive some of it. So those are the cycling experiences, mountain biking experiences that we offer for the people who visit to Sri Lanka. So that's it. Those are the things that we do, that's are the things that we are plan to give, and we have already given within the past 5 to 6 years for the people who comes to Sri Lanka. Thank you. Indika. Hello.
Sorry. So Danushka, thank you very much for introducing all those adventure activities in Sri Lanka. And now we would like to open it to any questions if anyone has about hiking, bird watching, or mountain biking, any of those experiences that you would like to clarify with Danushka. So I would keep it open for now. Anyone who is having any questions can put forward. Okay, I think we have one question. You could unmute your mic and put forward your question.
Hi, Danushka. This is
Yes.
Dina
Yes.
from Tuaja team. Just wondering about the bird watching excursions what you provide.
Okay.
I want to know whether we can use the bird watching guidance as a freelance service from you. Just say for an example, if we have an inquiry to do a bird watching tour only, can we invite from you? And the other thing, would you be able to guide us through Anavilundava, Chundikula, and Adams Bridge,
Adam's
and
Beach, yes.
Broadwell as well?
Yes, actually, those things also can be done because we have done those things in the past, especially with some travel agents in Sri Lanka. There are some specific agents who do only the bird watching. So those type, actually, not only me. With me, there are some another 4 to 5 people who works with me, and all those people are under the Colombo University, which is the Fog Excel, which Indika was mentioned. We normally only as a field ownership group of Sri Lanka. So we can do Anavilundava, Mena, and Chundikulam also we can do. That's an option we can do, yes.
Thank you, Danushka. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks, Dinuka, for that interesting question. Anyone else with any questions that you all like to clarify with us?
I can't hear you. I can't hear you properly, Indika.
Hello?
Hello. Yes.
Yeah, so I have a small clarification myself.
Okay.
So Sri Lanka is a tropical country, and there are a lot of seasons. There are 2 seasons, right?
Yeah.
Would you advise our guests if they are traveling to Sri Lanka? So you mentioned like the Knuckles mountain range, and you get the mountain ranges closer to the hill countries like the Adams Peak and Horton Plains. So, like, which areas would you propose? Like, if you take the span of the year, which sites would you propose that we should go on a hike on each part of the year? Danushka, can you unmute your mic?
Now it's okay, right?
Yes.
Right. Actually, good question, Intika. I also forgot to mention about those things because, as you mentioned, we are getting the rain from 2 monsoons, predominantly known as the southwest monsoon, which starts from May and it continues up to September. Right. So from that rain, the Central Highlands will be getting highly affected. But still, May and June is the worst part. You have to avoid to do the trekking. But when it comes to July and August, most of the days in the July and August, it's mostly dry and sunny. But in the late evenings only, it gives you some showers, right? So when it comes to hiking and trekking, the best time of the year is from December to March, right? So keep it in mind when you're promoting it and when you are training it to your visitors, selling it for your clients, you have to mention that specifically. It should be from December to March. And from the summer vacation, for the European summer vacation, July and August also 2 good months to do the hiking and trekking in Sri Lanka also. So those are the 2 specific time periods, December to March. Sometimes you can take it as first 2 weeks of April also, but keep it from December to March, then July and August. Those are the 2.
Thank you very much. So we have just enough time for one more question. Is there anyone who wishes to clarify anything? So before we wrap up, have one question.
Yeah.
A bit hiker myself. I'm very
Yeah.
interested in this topic and was very happy to take this. So another interesting point like you mentioned was the Adam's Peak hike. So
Hmm.
being a natural hike and a lot of things to see, it's also very spiritual and something
I can't hear you, Indika, properly. It's breaking. Yeah, can you repeat it again?
Yes. So I was clarifying about Adam's Peak.
Yeah.
So my clarification is, so you get different trails. You
Yeah.
mentioned there were around 6 different trails.
6 different trails, yeah.
So I think the most popular one would be Nalatani.
Yes, Nalatani Hatton.
Something that we do is it's a highlight that people hike like overnight and reach the peak for the sunrise.
Yes.
So would you recommend that? And if you are taking any other trails, does it come at the same time? Or like you can do it during the day as well?
No, actually, out of the 6 trails which I mentioned in the presentation, Hatton Nalatani is the shortest trail, which is only 5 kilometers to the top, and which will take around for a foreign visitor, it will take around only 3 hours and 3.5 hours to reach the top. So, right, it's a 5 kilometer and it has a elevation gain of around 990 meters. But when it comes to the Prattapura Palabadala one, it's around 9 kilometer trail and it has the 2000 meter elevation gain. So it will take around nearly 7 to 8 hours to climb because the Nalatani, because the Ratnapura Palabadal trail, it's a combination. It has the concreted steps and it has some of a jungle patch and again the concreted steps also. So apart from those two, there are another 4 trails that you can use, but out of that there are some security issues, security concerns also, but with the help of the Department of Wildlife, with the prior permission, if we can take it in a proper way, then we can do it, because those are the 4 trails that the visitor must experience, because it goes through the typical wilderness and typical montane and typical primary forest of Sri Lanka, like the places like the I'll give you 2 names. One is the Udama Libata Dharanegala Road Trail, which is a 16-kilometer trail to the top, and it has a 1,650-meter elevation gain, one of the toughest trails. And the other one is, I might think that you have heard about Kuruvita Eratnar Trail, which is also another one of the toughest, which has 18 kilometers to the top from the bottom, and it also has a 1,800-meter elevation gain. So those are the 2 trails that I recommend to any of the clients who visit Sri Lanka to do it in a proper way. So if they want to do it and if they inform us, Intikab, then we can get the prior permission from the wildlife department, and we can arrange our first stay. And we have to arrange a tracker from the park, and we have to take the necessary equipments, and then we can do it. So it will take around nearly 1.5 days, because to start the Dharanegala trail, you have to be there at the trailhead by around 6 o'clock in the morning, and it will take you around 6 o'clock in the evening, sometimes might be more than that, to reach the peak. Both are the same. So that means to take up and down, it will take more than 1 day.
Okay, unless you take the Nalatani trail, correct?
Yeah, Nalatani trail is around 6 hours, up and down 6 hours.
And for myself, I've only done that trail for now a few times, and
Yeah.
I must say, tell viewers that like if you hike up there for the sunrise, that's one magical experience. I think
Yes.
we need to highlight and recommend. And Danishka, just in short, also Adams Peak is only accessible during a period of time. Would you like to like it starts from one foyer to the other foyer, and when
Yeah.
it is off season. Can you just invite our viewers about that as well?
Yes, actually, the pilgrimage season starts from the full moon Poy day of December. Then it goes up to the full moon Poy day of month of May. So those are the 6 months which you can do the pilgrimage hike for the visitors also. And I recommend to do the hike around, if possible, to do it leisurely with less people of Sri Lankan pilgrimages, the best period is from January and February. Because by end of February and March, the coolness and the toughness is getting bit lesser. Then only the Sri Lankan people starts to climb that. And towards the end of the school vacation also. So January, February, Sri Lankan people doesn't want to take the climb that as much because the coolness and the toughness is much more higher than in end of February and first 2 weeks of March. So to my experience, for the foreign visitors, the best months will be December after the Poya, then January and February. And during the off season also, I have done so many hikes before the last year incidents, Easter Sunday attacks, and this Corona, the COVID-19 thing also. Specifically, July and August are the two best seasons, 2 best months to do the Adams Peak hikes, but it's only one trail will be available, which is Hatton Nallatani trail, only available for the visitors and for the Sri Lankan public also, because the other 5 is almost going through most of the part of the peak wilderness sanctuary. The trails are going, so most of the animals breeding seasons, nesting and mating seasons are happening during that period, so that's why it has have to be avoided.
Okay, Danushka, thank you very much. So our time is up, and I think we have to wrap up now. Again, I would like to thank you very much for all the insight that you have provided us. And I would like to thank all our viewers for joining us today for our 6th webinar, and hope to see you guys for our next webinar soon. We will keep you posted on it. And thank you very much, and have a nice day.
Thank you very much, Indika, to providing this opportunity for us. Thank you so much.
Okay, okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.